And welcome back to Dark Side of the Mic. And this week we're going to talk about a pair of very cheap $50 headphones that I think are just wonderful. And to do that we're going to record this ramble on the 3U Audio GZ251 FET mic. A couple of people asked about this one, so it'll give you a sense of how it sounds. I'll do a more detailed comparison of this mic in another video, but this will effectively kill two birds with one stone. So we're going to talk today about the KOSS Porta Pro headphones, and I had no intention of doing a video on these until Bark from Obscure Mics suggested on Twitter that that might be a good idea. So here we go. Now you might be mistaken for thinking that these headphones are some sort of vintage collector's item from the 1980s, and you wouldn't be too far wrong since these have been about since 1984 and have more or less remained unchanged for nearly 40 years. And while this design hasn't always been trendy, it seems to be finding a cult status at the moment with a whole new generation of listeners today. And I love this 80s retro vibe, and on mine I've added some orange Yaxi pads, which are a separate purchase, which I think really sets them off. Now these are incredibly lightweight at only 60 grams. They're made of plastic with a doubled up metal band, and in face value when you hold them in your hands you'd be thinking, how on earth are these going to last? And why is KOSS giving you a lifetime warranty with them? But while I was doing research on these headphones for this video, I found some guys on Twitter saying that they had had theirs for over 30 years and they were still going strong. So I think when we talk about build quality, we have to pair that with human quality. And if you're used to trashing your gear, then these probably aren't for you. Would you give them to a modern day child and expect them to survive the week? Probably not. But it's like anything, I guess. If you look after your stuff, it'll look after you. And one of the cool things about these is that they are foldable, and they have this cool hook and loop feature that packages them up into a tiny protected package ready to go into their supplied pouch. So great for travel, commuting, or just throwing in a bag. Now the Porta Pros have a toggle that you can select a light or a firm fit, but firm here does not equate to installing your head in a vice by any means, and with the foam pads on the side, these are incredibly comfortable. I would go as far as to say that these are the most comfortable headphones I've ever worn. It's practically like wearing air, and you more or less forget they're on your head within minutes of putting them on. Now being a semi-open back design, these aren't going to isolate your audio world like closed back headphones or IEMs will, but having been using them for walking about town with busy traffic in the background, I've really enjoyed them, and the open back design wouldn't put me off using them in those settings. So how do they sound? Well, to be honest, I was completely blown away with the warmth given how light and delicate they feel when you wear them. You don't really expect such a small driver to deliver such a big sound. There's a real thickness to the bass, and it feels really smooth and balanced. The high end is still articulate, although not as extended as more expensive headphones. Having said that, I don't have many headphones here to compare them with. My daily drivers are Audio-Technica M40Xs, by no means ultra high end either, and those definitely have a tighter, more clinical bass and more extension in the high end, and are probably a bit flatter as well. I've pulled the frequency response comparison here from Reference Audio Analyzer, and you can see the wider response of the M40Xs. Now that's great for monitoring where you really want to be hearing as much as you can when you're mixing podcasts or video projects, for example. But for listening to music or long-form spoken word content, I do find they can get a bit fatiguing and sharp, particularly in the high end. By contrast, you feel like you can wear the Porta Pros all day long because they just seem to round off that high end in a really pleasing way while still feeling natural and detailed. So overall then, I would say the Porta Pros sit somewhere in between the extreme articulation of dedicated monitoring headphones, while not as quite as coloured as regular listening headphones. I keep coming back to warm, balanced, comfortable. Think slippers, an open fire, and a single malt on a cold winter's day. And if that sounds like your tipple, then these headphones could be the nostalgia trip that you've been waiting for. And God knows we all need a little bit of that at the moment. Okay, that's it for this week. What do you think of the Porta Pros? And how did the GZ251 FET sound? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And we'll pick this up next time. Take care for now.